We are recording. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday evening, Divine Mercy Sunday for those of you that celebrate it. I just realized I didn't make Divine Mercy Sundays for my kids. I guess we're having them tomorrow. FYI, fun tip, I bought ice cream and put it in a brown bag in the fridge so my kids wouldn't eat it before the day that I forgot to serve it. And the other day they opened the bag and they were like, oh, we never knew you would put it in there. That was really smart, Mom, but now I'm ruined and I have to come up with another plan. So yeah, I got it off of Catholic Icing. She gets really, I have to give credit. But anyway, I'm so happy to see y'all's faces. We just had a call before this where some of us coaches leaned in for a little bit of time. And I'll have to tell you, this has been life for me. I don't know if any of you are craving like connection like I have been. I didn't realize I always considered myself like an extroverted introvert. Like I like people, but then I also like time with myself. But now I think after this, I'm going to be such an extrovert. It's going to be annoying. I went to the doctor this week for an adjustment for the chiropractor. And when I was leaving, he tapped my shoulder and was like, I hope you have a good day. It's going to be okay. And I got in the car and started crying because it's the first time a non-family member has like made contact with me for 5 weeks, right? So what a gift that we get to lean in together. I just wanted to take a moment before I hand it over to Megan and her amazing coach, Juliana, who's going to share something that I think is so important in this season with you guys tonight, to talk to you about a few things just to keep on your radar. For those of you guys that are BOD members, have Beachbody On Demand, which I think is probably everybody here, Bar Blend is being added to BOD this week. They decided as a company, instead of waiting until the summer, to give it as a gift early, which is amazing. A lot of us finished that program when we got early access. So if you're looking for something new and fresh, Elise, the trainer, will uplift you like no other. Listen to her words when she speaks. She is like literally a ray of sunshine on Energize. I mean, she's the happiest person ever. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that there is an amazing book being released by Alana Molstein, who's the creator of the 2B Mindset, and it is on pre-order right now on Amazon called You Can Drop It. Is that right, y'all? Is that what it's called? And I want to encourage you, if you're looking for some guidance in nutrition, if you're a 2B Mindset member person, to look at it. I'm going to actually order it myself because she gets a little more into the mindset support. We had a great event yesterday as coaches with our company, and they talked a lot about things that are coming around the corner. We're going to have mixed berry Energize, which I'm excited about. Salted caramel Shakeology is coming out this summer, you guys. That sounds amazing. I know, right? They're releasing a new program this summer called Muscle Burns Fat, which looks super intense and amazing. Just so many good announcements, and they're trying to find ways to best support you in this season. So what usually on our calls, we'll do a product focus where we'll talk about things and the benefits of them. And what I want to just share with you is that something that has been very helpful to me. I've been a coach. My first challenge group I ever participated in was a 10-day challenge that I did in May 7 years ago. And what I did in that 10-day challenge is I tried Shakeology for 10 days. I didn't even have like a program I was per se doing, but I wanted to try something different. If you struggle with overeating, eating between meals, constant cravings, energy dips, drinking a ton of coffee to make it through the day with a lot of sugar in it, digestive issues, feeling like you don't know what supplements are good and what is not, I just want you to talk to your coach about maybe trying Shakeology for 7 days. You don't have to commit to a 30-day like purchase, but our company has put together a 7-day week where you can try and see. It helps everyone in different ways. I'm not going to make a medical claim. I'm not going to say, oh, if you do this, it will solve your entire worldly problem. Like nothing's going to do that. There was a great homily that I listened to today by Father Mike Schmitz, and he talked about how like uncertainty and insecurity is normal because that's where we need God. So Shakeology is not going to fill that gap, but it will fill other gaps in your nutrition. For me personally, I had horrible IBS, horrible cravings, and a horrible inflammation. And from drinking this for almost 7 years, coming up on my anniversary, it has improved all of those areas in my life. And I don't just, I drank it to help with weight loss. I drank it as a snack when I was nursing. I drank it as a prenatal when I was pregnant. You know, it's just something that's made a difference. And my biggest holdback was the price point because I was nervous it wouldn't work. So test it for 7 days. I just want to challenge you guys to do that. There's a plant-based option. There is a whey protein option based on your dietary needs, but it is okay for you to take some time to invest in a supplement that could help your health. And I say that not as a coach trying to sell you something, but as a woman who for a long time felt like it was wrong to spend any money on myself. I get it, it's hard. But if it could help you not have crashes in the afternoon or not crave things at night, like sometimes at night I'll make a half of a shake instead of splurging on the ice cream that I hid from my kids. You know what I mean? Or I just want to offer you that tool. And so I want to spotlight that this evening as something that you can try. And then I wanted to share just the amazing stuff that's coming around. I mean, seriously, I feel like our company like constantly is releasing stuff, and they just released like a piñata worth of goodies for us, for lack of a better metaphor. But that's not why we're here tonight. We are here tonight to lean in with these two amazing women who are going to talk to you about tools to navigate this season. Because how many of you guys, raise of hands, have felt a little bit of anxiety in this season? Anybody feel a little bit? Yeah, I have. And I'm excited to lean in and learn. So I hope you brought some pen and paper. There's a chat feature so you can ask questions on the side. And I'm going to stop yapping and let Megan take over.
Oh, guys, I'm so excited for Juliana to share tonight. I've known her since college. She is a wife, an OT, and a coach. And it's been such an honor to have her on my team. And she has such a heart for serving people. I think that's why she's an occupational therapist and coach now. That's always been something that has struck me about her. And she has been doing some great things to really work on herself this year already, 2020. And I'm really excited to hear what she has to share with us based on, you know, what she's learned to help her. So go, girl.
Okay, is it working? I think so. Okay, good. I'm really nervous and my heart is like racing because I don't like speaking in front of people, and you're not even here, but it still makes me really nervous. But anyway, Brittany sent me pictures of her dog earlier to lift my spirits, and it helps. So I put together like a couple suggestions because I started going to counseling this year just in January, so I haven't even done that many sessions because now it's telehealth and that took a while to adjust to, but it has been really helpful because I feel like I've struggled with like just managing my stress and having a lot of anxiety for a long time, but I didn't really want to take the plunge even though it always came up and I was like, this is something that could really help me and I know it, but I don't want to do it. I'm so glad I did, so I highly recommend it because it's been nothing but positive. And sometimes I think it takes a while to find the right person. I lucked out and found a great person on my first try, but it really is like very life-changing. And I appreciate, I think finding someone who works with your personality is important. And she happens to be a good match in that way. And she's very practical. And I'm very practical. Like I like to just have a solution to things, like something at least to try, not just talk it out. That's not how I am. So she's really good about like, we'll talk about an issue and kind of like get a feel for it. And then she'll suggest strategies. We'll try them, talk about it in another 2 weeks. Like, how is this helping? Is it working or not? And we've like gone through different things where it's been like trial and error, which I think is helpful. So I'm bringing some of those to the table that haven't necessarily been like the key for me, but I think it just depends on who you are and what works for you. So I have like 5 different things, I think. But the first one is, especially right now, I think sometimes distractions can be a good thing. And just knowing yourself and what brings you peace. Some people need to know all the details and they need to watch the news and know, like educate themselves. I don't need to educate myself, and I have learned that. It makes it far worse for me. I block out the news. I don't follow anything on social media that pertains to the pandemic. It's not something I need to hear about. but again, for some people, you really need to educate yourself because it brings you calm to like know what's out there. And I totally get that. For me, distraction is better. And finding things that really take my mind off of it, because it's something I realized talking to my therapist. She's like, how have you been? I'm like, well, people keep asking if I'm really stressed, and I guess I'm stressed, but I don't know. And the more I thought about it, I realized like, it's just this residual, like constant stress. It's not that acute stress where you're like, my heart is racing and I'm having a panic attack all the time, but it's something that's constantly in the back of your mind. Like you're trying to sleep and you're thinking about it. You're taking a shower, you're thinking about it. You're trying to work out and it's coming out, you're still thinking about it. So I think finding things that really just completely absorb you can be helpful, so that at least for some part of your day, you're actually just calm is really helpful for me. So I like workouts where I'm very like absorbed. I need thudding music. I need like to be really like something that's a little more complex is good for me, because I have to focus on it and not just kind of go with the flow. Like I'm not a yoga person. I only do it for the stretching part occasionally. Other than that, I get really bored if it's like just straight yoga, because I'm in my head. I think all the time instead of being lost in the workout and enjoying that as like a detox. So I think, for example, for me, something is like a workout that's actually all absorbing is really helpful. Sometimes just like being organized, like with a to-do list of menial chores. I love just checking things off a to-do list. So for me, like having a list of just like manual labor tasks and getting them done one by one, like on a weekend, is actually something that takes my mind off of stress, because I focus on that instead. And it feels like I have something to do to be productive. And right now, when we can't do anything about this, unfortunately, it just is what it is. So having something to do where you can do something productive and feel like happy that you did it and proud of yourself is rewarding, and I think can be helpful, and it's a distraction. Or finding like a hobby that's very all encompassing. Some hobbies are like relaxing, but if you're worried, it doesn't really take your mind off of it. I took up crochet a couple months ago and I'm really bad at it. This is like my 5th time trying to learn to crochet. It's very tough for me, so it takes my mind all on that because I'm so bad at it. But that's really good for me, because then I'm like very like absorbed in doing it, because I can't multitask with crocheting because it's so tough for me, but it's fun, and it like keeps your hands busy, you know. I don't know. Occupational therapy, our whole standard is that using your hands helps heal your mind. So I think it's true, and crochet kind of like really does de-stress me, because I'm just busy with my hands. My mind has to focus on it, and it's like a hobby, so it's chill and you do something productive. So yes, I think just basically distracting yourself can be a healthy tactic if that's something that is how your mind works. My second point is organization and routine, which is really crucial for me. For some people, again, this is not going to be for you. I cope with anxiety by being very organized and living in like a strict routine, and I don't like to stray from it. My days are like exactly the same every weekday. And it's actually, the more I thought about it, like work is very stressful right now because I work in a hospital and I work with COVID patients too and stuff. But it's kind of great for me that my day is still the same as it always was, because it might be worse for me at home because that's not my routine, and I really thrive just having a set schedule. So that does really help me. Again, having like a to-do list, I love a list. I just love it. Having something like that where I can go to and I've got my daily things I need to get done, even on a weekend, because it's relaxing, but also this isn't our normal weekend anymore. So having something to do where you're just being productive and keeping a structure day to day is really helpful. I'm the type of person that I could literally set myself an actual schedule and abide by it. If that helps you, it's something to try, because again, if you thrive on just having a routine and feeling productive on that, it just takes your mind away from things, because it makes it seem normal and like bring some normalcy to things, which is I think lacking right now for a lot of people. Or just like clean something. I love to detox and clean stuff out. I'm not a hoarder at all. Like I love to go through things and just trash it all, which is bad because I just keep nothing that's actually meaningful. And then it's sad because I'm like, oh, I should have kept that sweet letter from my husband from when we were dating, but like I trash everything. But it helps. Even just like you're really stressed, I love to go through my closet and just really detox and be like, none of this is going to fit me. It's going, it's not in style anymore. I hate it. Let's go. And just reorganizing it. That's like really, it's like soothes my stress to have something reorganized and clean. So if that helps you, it's another way of just organizing and keeping a routine. The third one, which I will say is a challenge for me, but some people really thrive with it, is mindfulness meditation. I will say the most useful way I found to do it is there's an app called Stop, Think, Breathe. And it looks like, maybe I can show you, it's red. I know there's a lot of ones out there, but if you can see this little red one with a cloud, that's what it looks like. And it just says breathe underneath, but it's Stop, Think, Breathe. Again, I'm like I like a goal. So this is the only way that mindfulness works for me, because it like tracks you and gives you little like badges for the more you do it. And it tells you how many minutes you've done each week. And there, the part I really like that you don't always have to do a meditation, but you can at least check in once a day, even if you don't have time to do a meditation, but some of them are literally 3 minutes. So it is like an easy thing to get into. You don't have to commit 20 minutes to this. But it does like a check-in. So when you go in, it just says, basically it's like, okay, close your eyes and just breathe for 10 seconds. And then it asks you like, how are you feeling? And it gives you little faces at the top, like meh, great, good, okay, not good, it's terrible kind of thing. And you pick emotions under each of those faces, depending on what you're feeling. I think you can pick up to 5. And then it logs those and it gives you a suggested variety of meditations based on what you put in as your emotions. So like if you're really anxious, it tracks that and it's like, here's one for, you know, helping with your anxiety. Let's deep breathe for this many minutes, whatever. There's all different kinds of ones. There's actually even ones for kids with videos with them that are very cute. I've just watched them to like get an idea. But if you have kids, if you work with kids with anxiety, anything like that, it is really cute. Like it's, there's like a little dog and it talks about like, he'll be on a boat and it's like, sometimes you feel like things are rocky and like, you don't know how to feel about something. And it's about weathering the storm. And there's this cute little dog who like weathers the storm in the boat, but it's like very, it's easy to understand for a kid and it breaks it down in very simple language. So just also something I feel like in this time for kids, it might be helpful. But I do like that app. If you struggle to like shut your mind down at night, that's when I find it most useful for me, is like doing it before bed. My husband and I actually did it for a while when I first started therapy. Like we would, when we were going to bed, would open it up and I would like do my little emotion thing. And then I'd be like, okay, let's do this meditation. And we would just both lay there and do it for a couple minutes before we went to bed. And it does help because it kind of shuts your mind down. It helps just like de-tense. Sometimes you carry a lot of tension in your body. It talks a lot about that. And so it's a lot of like just relaxing into that. And it is helpful. Now, some people use mindfulness to actually like attack anxiety at the source when it's happening during the day. I just can't do that for me. I'm too in my head and it's really hard for me to shut down. I'm sure if I practiced a lot, maybe I could, but I'm definitely not at that point yet. But it's still helpful. Again, for me, it's just sleep that I mostly use it for, but it's something to try. And it's one of those things that you're supposed to work on so that it can help you actually manage things. And there's a lot of science behind it that proves that it actually changes the function of your brain. It decreases cortisol, all kinds of things to actually really attack like stress related hormones. So it is something that's really worth trying. It's great. It's great. Anyway, okay. But again, I just don't find that it helps with my moments of true anxiety when I'm like really having a rough time. It's not something I can just implement in the moment. So for those kind of moments, something that I found really great from therapy is called grounding. So it's a way, like, especially if you're really feeling panicked, it's a way to kind of focus your mind elsewhere and remove yourself from the panic sensations. But it's just really helpful for, again, like taking your mind off of things. So I don't think you need to be having a true panic attack to use this. But I've definitely had times at work recently where I've been like, I'm getting really panicked, and it does help a lot. So the idea is that you pick something around you when you're feeling that way, and the more detailed, the better. So when I practiced it with my therapist, it was like a painting in the room. So you pick something and then you describe it to yourself in as much detail as you can. The point is that it's so descriptive that someone who's blind could paint a picture of it, because that's how much description you've put into it. So like the map behind me, for example, I could say, all right, it's really large. It covers almost a whole wall. It's a rectangle. it's a map of the world and it's in sepia colors. So it's tan and like very pale greens, browns. There's a bit of like a rose tinge and cream colors. And then you can see the outline of all the map, like places, all the continents. At the bottom, there's a little picture frame almost that's decorative and kind of Renaissance looking. You can see different topographical features, and then you can see the longitudinal lines. And so going into it in that much depth, the more descriptive, the better, about colors, shapes, like what's actually in the thing you're describing, all those kind of things. And I honestly find it really helpful. So it can be an object, it doesn't have to be a painting, I'm just using that, but it can be like a person that you're near, it can just be like an object, a chair, whatever. But as long as it's something really physical that you can just stare at and just breathe and describe to yourself, and I do find it very helpful and like calming, just because you really remove yourself from the situation. Some people teach like trying to actually read into like, okay, what's going on? Like, how am I feeling? That can be great, but I think if you're really panicked, it just like draws you more into that and you feel more stressed. So I think focusing on something totally separate that has no emotion or anything attached to it, it's just a chair, a painting, whatever, can be the most helpful, because it just really like, it's totally outside the situation. It removes you from that and you can just focus on calming down. So I really like that one a lot. And another thing that she has taught me about working with your own personality, and this I wouldn't necessarily use in this for coronavirus, because I don't think this helps at all, but for other things like personal insecurities or other anxieties, I'm a very like catastrophizing person. So, you know, like something small could happen, like I have like a awkward interaction with someone and I spiral out of control thinking, oh my gosh, what are they thinking about me? And gosh, what if that like comes back to like someone else? And then now like they don't even, I'm not even like that, but they think, it's just, I get very in my head, especially like in social situations. And that's something I'll tend to do a lot in my head. So she was like, use your catastrophizing. And I think that's so helpful. Basically like think what's the absolute worst that could happen. So I like have described the situation to her before, and she's like, but like, what's the worst that could happen? And I'll like say something, she's like, no, like what's the worst? Like take it really far. So it's like, oh, this comes back to whoever. And then, you know, this friend tells my husband, and then my husband's like, that's terrible. Why did I marry this woman? Whatever. Like it can be absurd, you know, and then you're like, but then you realize, wow, that's really absurd. That would never happen. Like, why am I really that concerned over something that doesn't matter? And it does really help because it's true. Like that's where I get in my head anyway, but to take it a few steps farther and realize that not only the end extreme is bizarre to think that that could happen, but like the first insecurity was also ridiculous and it probably didn't happen anyway. And that person didn't talk about me when I left because I wouldn't have talked about them either. It really didn't matter. And I'm just really spiraling out of control. So just to think about it that way, it just has been really helpful, especially just to work with like my own natural instincts, because that's what I already do. So just to work with that and use my weakness in that area to actually help my mind is really helpful. So I think sometimes like using something you think is a weakness in that way to actually help you, you know, overcome those insecurities and anxieties is really helpful. And then the last thing I was just going to mention, I mentioned therapy at the beginning. I really do highly recommend it. And I know right now it's tough if you've thought about doing it. Now it seems really inconvenient because we're quarantined and all that, but there's actually great ways to do it. Like I said, my therapist does telehealth. So we actually do like a secure version of Zoom. And we had a session and it was great. And I mean, I will say like, it's really nice to be in person, but also like maybe even better for you, because if you're testing this out for the first time with a person and you're like, what if it's terrible and I don't have to see them yet? That's what my husband told me. I was like, what if this therapy thing is terrible? He's like, then just don't go back. I mean, like literally never respond to her email again. And it's true. You don't have to. Like that's probably happened to them before. It's okay to ghost them if it's not a good match. But I mean, telehealth might be an even better way to start if it's something you're interested in, because now like there is just so much more to deal with why not use this opportunity to go for it? And again, it's like over a screen. And if you don't like them, you don't ever have to do it again, and you just don't respond to their email. So, I mean, it's really not that bad. It's worth looking someone up. I found mine through Psychology Today. They literally have like a locate a therapist thing. When you put in psychologytoday.com, it'll be like the first thing you see. It just says locate a therapist. You put in your zip code. It brought up like 55. I cross-matched them with my insurance because I'm blessed to have good insurance that I have like benefits for mental health, but it's something to look into. So I just cross-matched and saw that it was someone who was covered by my insurance. So I already knew like how much I had to pay going in. And I'm sure they're still accepting because these people need a job too. And a lot of them are trying to get set up with telehealth. So it's worth trying. And if you're uncomfortable going to meet someone for the first time, you get to do it from the comfort of your own home, which is even better. And there's also apps right now. So I know some of them even have like texting at first. If you're more comfortable with that, you can even just text someone. One is BetterHelp, and there's another one, and I should have written it down and I can't remember, but there are several ones, and you just pay like monthly, I think, or like per session, just like you would with a normal session. But it's worth trying. And again, it's from the comfort of your own home. So like if you really don't want to get out and that makes it way worse, and right now it's hard to do that anyway, it's worth looking into. And I'm sure you can find someone who is a good match. Like even mine, on Psychology Today, there's like a lot of features where you can filter people. So I just knew that I would be more comfortable talking to a woman personally. So I just checked like only women. You can put in religion and you can find someone of your own religion or just Christian or whatever. A lot of them will say that. Mine had in her little thing just mentioned that she was Christian. I mean, so you can kind of find someone who matches with what you're interested in. And they normally talk about what their specialties are. They have like a pretty large paragraph for each one. So it's easy to find. So I found a couple that I felt good about, and then like that were close and were in a neighborhood I was comfortable going to myself. So it's definitely an easy way to do it. And again, right now might be the ideal time because you don't even have to physically go there. So it might be even better if that's something that makes it harder for you to do. So I would look into it. And I just got an email from my insurance company last week, actually, mentioning that they were upping their mental health benefits because of everything that's going on. So I don't know if that's just me. I see other people nodding. So look into it. But even if the money is something that you're worried about, see, because I know it just said like, we're upping it. If you didn't have that, we're adding it to certain plans. And then if you do, I think it just lowered copay and stuff. So if the money is one thing, it's like definitely worth looking because now it's actually maybe more affordable and in your price range because of that. So, and again, they're still looking for people and they're trying to get into telehealth and all. So there's definitely going to be options out there. I think that was it. Those are the things that I thought of. So sorry, I know it wasn't very long, but that's about it.
So helpful. I'm really glad that you shared, and I'm hijacking. Megan's gonna wrap us up, but I just wanted to say I'm a huge advocate of therapy. Number 4 was grounding. Sarah, I can't see where you are on here now. Oh, right, there you are. I wanted to just share this with you in case this could encourage anybody. I go to therapy. My therapist is still seeing people in her office. And so it's kind of nice because I go at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, which for most people might sound crazy, but I love getting up in the quiet and going and coming home before my kids are even awake. But my kids even go. Like we have a family therapist who meets with different. So 2 of my kids have gone, and the third one is about to start, and they're doing the telehealth because it's a kid's office. They're doing it like virtually, but for a very long time, I used to be so ashamed about it. And I'm so glad that you talked about it tonight because I honestly, like, I had to tell one of my children when she was going because we thought something was wrong with her. And I was like, I will probably go to therapy for the rest of my life. It's nice to talk because the woman I go to has a mom with 7 kids and they're all grown, but I have 7 kids. So she can help me. Like, tell me some days, you're doing a really good job. Like sometimes you just need someone to tell you that, And so I'm so thankful that you shared about this because there doesn't need to be a stigma about it. But even if you have kids that need that, it doesn't make you a bad parent, that you're actually teaching your children value. Angie, who's on here, was a family therapist. And I remember talking to her about, because I felt kind of like a failure in seasons when my kids needed it. But it's like you want to set up like a team, like you and your spouse when you have kids are like a team. And sometimes you need other support as a team, whether you have a kid that you need special needs. So you might have like an OT or a PT or a speech pathologist. A therapist is just another part of that team. And so I just wanted to encourage people. Like, I think it's really powerful that you talked about it for us as moms or women or wives or whatever vocation and station you are in your life, but also for others in your home. I think it's important for them to know it's not a failure for them either. You know what I mean? It's not because you're not a good enough parent if your child needs to go. It's actually a gift to give them. So, because my oldest actually asked me finally if she could talk to someone, and I was really glad. And she's a really, like you, I would never have known, but she just wants to talk to someone outside of our home. And so we're setting something up through the telehealth stuff. So I just wanted to share that from the perspective if there's other, with your kids and stuff. But thank you so much. This was so good. I'm going to hand it over to Megan.
I wanted to say too that I do think, like, I didn't mention this, but just having, like you mentioned, Kelly, like someone just to kind of validate where you're at can be really helpful. And like I said, I am very practical, but even like just having someone, I started going because we had a miscarriage and I just felt like I needed someone to help me process through that, like the grief and stuff, just because it was something I felt like I've never really dealt with grief before. Like, I've lost other people in my life and I don't think I dealt with it well then either. So I was like, I need to get ahead of this. And it was really helpful. But just even to have, like, if you're the type of person that always feel like, I don't know, like your emotions are burdening other people, or they're like in the way, or you just don't even like know what to do with them, which is kind of how I am. Like, I just don't process emotions well. I just get like angry and I'm not really good at the rest of it. And it was just really validating to have someone just listen and be like, yeah, it's okay to feel that way. Or even I felt like every time someone asked me and I had to be like, yeah, no, we're not pregnant anymore. Like every time someone asked, how are you doing? It just sucked. But then it was like, I wanted to be like, yeah, I mean, we're not okay. Like, it's hard, but it's going to be okay in the end. But I felt like I couldn't say that. And I was always just like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. We're doing great. Like, it's fine. We totally understand. Like, I just had to reassure everyone else we were okay. And I wasn't like allowed to not be okay. And it was just so nice to go in and talk to someone and be like, you don't have to feel good about it. And just have someone say that's okay, and even help me figure out a better way to handle those situations, because I just didn't even know how else to handle them, to be honest. I was like, I'm just working from like what I what I naturally just do, and I don't know how else to do it. And having someone kind of help me navigate those situations made it so much healthier. So whether it's stress or something else, like there's a lot of different things you can go for, just having someone to talk to. But especially if you're like that too, and you just don't even know how to process those things, you don't know where you're at, you just want someone to give you some validation on feeling a certain way, it's rewarding no matter what the circumstances in that way. So yeah.
That is such like a good way to put therapy. I've never gone, but I've always like wanted to. And it's just nice to hear that it's like just a way to process what you feel like you can't process. It's not like stuff has hit the fan. Like, it's just, yeah. I mean, I think we all, that is like definitely feel like you're advocating like anybody can use it. It's not like you have to have some really heavy stuff. Yeah, this is so good. I'm so glad you shared this, because I know we coaches like really try to help everybody with their mindset around, life and, exercise and eat well to take care of your body and your mind and everything. But like, there's more you can do, and we aren't therapists and we aren't counselors, and we're just your cheerleaders really and equippers. But it's just nice to hear you share your experience and to like give everybody that validation that like if you need more of that mindset piece, go out and get it, and your tips were phenomenal. Like, I'm definitely going to get that app. Gonna be texting you after this, asking you like a million questions. Yeah, so good. So good. So thank you so much. Let's close in prayer. Hopefully my little one won't wail. Lord, thank you so much for Juliana. Thank you for her friendship in my life and for this opportunity for everybody who's listening to the recording and everybody who's here tonight to just experience the gift of her in this world and in our lives. Thank you so much for the story that you have written in her life, the ways that you have led her, so that we can experience love and goodness through her in this moment and through being a part of this community with her. I just ask that you open everybody's heart to hear the message she shared today. For those of us who need to take action to reduce our stress and anxiety in our life, just give us the courage to take steps, give us the grace to take care of ourselves well, give us peace in this time of uncertainty and disorder. Please bring healing to all those who are hurting, whether it's from the illness itself, losing loved ones, losing their jobs. Please just bring peace and increase the charity in people's hearts at this time, Lord. And I ask this all in your most loving name. Amen. Have a good night, y'all.